The more I got some questions for you, homie. No more, me and you gotta have a stern talk one-on-one. Oh man, yeah, I'm glad it's over, chat. Shout out to everybody here for Eastern. We're at 3:50 a.m. Appreciate that anybody's here right now. Where do I begin with this video game? I think I'm gonna make a video about this game, but we'll see, because I have stuff coming out this month, so it might not actually happen. But I'll give my usual credits thoughts anyway. We took, like, what? Around 55 hours to beat the game. Now that says something, okay? That says something, because you guys should know by now that I beat games this is not a brag, by the way. I beat games faster than most people, and that's because I usually, like, beeline the story. Okay? So keep in mind that even under the Nara playtime, it was 55 hours. I think at that point, you should know this game is a little too long, at the very least. A little too long. But obviously, I played this game a lot over the past couple of days. Like, I was joking with Daz yesterday when we were playing Apex. I told him, like, yo, I'm playing FF7 like it's a full-time job. So obviously, it's like a lot of fun. The production value is insane. That's really the best part of this game, is the production value. Like, insane. What's up, Daz? Insane, the production value, especially with how long it is. This is an accomplishment, if only just for, like, how good the game looks, how smooth the game is, how consistent it is with the production, how many songs there are, even though, like, a lot of them are, like, variations of, you know, similar melodies. Still, like, no matter what, no matter how you feel, this game is an achievement in that regard, right? The battle system was sick. I already love that from FF7 Remake. They made it better in this game, so no qualms there. The side quests are hit or miss. Side quests are hit or miss. Some of them I really liked. Other ones were pretty repetitive. The exploration, I kind of said this in the notes that I did on Discord. Yeah, this was the Aerith song that they showed. The exploration is very Ubisoft style. If you know what I mean, you might like that. I had mixed feelings. It feels more like a video game. This game reminds you are playing a video game. It's not like the new Zelda games, or Elden Ring, or Ghost of Tsushima, or even Xenoblade X, honestly. Like, this game keeps reminding you that it is a video game. I had to mute Chadley. That white hair, little twink. I had to mute that guy with how much he interrupts you in this game. And that's not necessarily bad, the way it's designed, it's just kind of annoying after playing those, like, new open world games. But if you do mute that, and, like, just try to skim through some stuff, it's still fun. I didn't explore, like, so much of the open world, but I did a good amount. No, yeah, I'm not saying that it should have been like those games I mentioned, but even the way it's designed, they could have done less. They could have not had those interruptions. They could have not, you know, because it wasn't just Chadley, it was also Mai. Like, they made a whole character just to talk to you in the open world. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying they should be like the other games. It's just like tone it down a little bit in terms of interruptions. Hold on. Pause the thoughts. Never mind. Continue the thoughts. this is gonna spoil the potential video I'm gonna make. Okay? So if I do end up making this video, I'm sorry I spoiled it for you. My favorite part of this game is also my least favorite part of this game. Okay? Before I say that, the whole Zag bullshit was bullshit. Complete waste. Maybe in the next game, it'll be better, but in this game, complete waste of time. They just kept stringing you along with no payoff except for the fan service payoff. But like if you're trying to think like actual like story, writing quality wise, no payoff in that regard. So hopefully the next game they pick it up a little bit there. I did not love Chadley. Oh, then you got me there. I gotta rephrase that for the video. You got me there. My favorite part of this game is also my least favorite part. My favorite part of this game is, think about it, okay? If you've been watching, or if you've been playing yourself, or if you just know Final Fantasy VII, a lot of people, before these remakes, a lot of people looked at FF7 as this like really edgy game, especially Cloud, and that's especially because of Advent Children, the way they portrayed Cloud, and just the tone of that movie. A lot of people looked back at FF7 as this like melodramatic, edgy game. But in reality, the original game is very goofy. There's a lot of nonsense. So my favorite part about this game is that they retained that. They didn't water that down. In fact, they leaned into it a lot more. They did not try to fool anybody, despite how clearly melodramatic it is. They did not try to fool anybody into thinking like this was the super serious game the whole way through. No, there's a lot of chapters where it was just complete cartoony nonsense. And I like chapter 4, the part where it's a hell of a long chapter, but the part where you're like in the Shinra parade, that whole sequence was awesome. Getting to explore Junon, like that whole sequence building up to that was so cool. And that was them just leaning into the goofiness, realizing like they're very self-aware of what Final Fantasy VII actually is. They're not just writing the perception of it before these remakes came out, and I really appreciate that. And there's a lot of other stuff too. Obviously the Gold Saucer. Like, I feel like over half of this game is nonsense. Whether it's goofy nonsense or narrative nonsense. Or both. Like right here, this section right here I'm talking about, that just passed by, that was like one of the peaks of the game. But I said all this to say that my favorite thing is also my least favorite thing. They added a little too much nonsense. Like, there's a lot of, like, they leaned into it maybe a little too hard. There's a lot of filler in this game. There's a lot of padding in this game. There's a lot of, like, straight up anime filler episodes. The entirety of Chapter 12, that hour and a half I played at the beginning of this stream, worthless. There's just a lot of parts in this game that are just straight up filler. Right? And the reason why that's my least favorite part is not just because I hate wasting my time, but it's also because if this was any other game, think about that for a second. If this wasn't Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, it would get a lot more shit. Does that make sense? Like, I really appreciate it because it's a AAA game with just amazing production value that is still so goofy. You don't get that very often. You don't get that so often. Think about all the AAA games, your Last of Us, your God of Wars, you know? You get that with like maybe GTA, of course, because it's like this sandbox chaotic game. But in terms of like story-focused games, AAA story-focused games, they're usually like dark and gritty and serious. That's why I appreciate this so much, that they made sure to say, nah, fuck that. We're goofy as shit. Like, I think it means a lot to me personally to see a game with this much lightheartedness get that production value, because there's so many lighthearted games that aren't taken seriously, right? But this game forces you to take it seriously because of the production value and the nostalgia. But that's also my least favorite part, because I know there'd be a lot more people complaining the same complaints I'm giving you right now. There'd be a lot more people giving you that complaint if it wasn't Final Fantasy VII Remake. So hopefully you understand. Yes. That I think people, they're so nostalgic for FF7. Or even if you didn't grow up with it, you still like realize it's a legendary game. You know what I mean? Like, even if you didn't have that innate love, you still know this game is legendary. And so you know that in the end, it's gonna be worth it, right? Other games don't have that privilege. Like, you look at, let's say, for example, like, you know, you remember back in the day how like Wind Waker got like a lot of flack because of its art style, and people perceived it as like this lighthearted game. There's a lot more context there, but like, in reality, that game has really dark themes. That's one of the darkest Zelda stories, right? That's one of the best parts of the game. But people didn't have that faith, because they just look at it and they just think, oh, it's this kiddie game, right? But people do have that faith in Final Fantasy VII, and that's why I think they're not gonna complain as much as I am right now about all the filler, about all this additional fat that's put onto it. It's because they know, like, they either already know they love the story, or they just have faith in it because it's such a legendary game. But if this wasn't, if this was a new IP, if this was Final Fantasy 16, you would see a lot more of the complaints. That's basically what I'm saying. If this was Final Fantasy 16 or 17, you would see a lot more of the complaints that I'm giving you right now. And I just feel like it kind of like, I kind of respect it, but they're kind of like, they just know they got that privilege. So they just went all out, for better and for worse. So, yeah. It's a good thing and a bad thing, is what I'm getting. So, I really enjoyed this game regardless, but definitely some mixed feelings about certain things. And to be fair, yeah, exactly. They knew, like, to put this bluntly, look, guys, it's 4 a.m. I'm gonna just say it as blunt as I can. This game is a 50+ hour JOI for Final Fantasy VII fans. That's what it is. That's what this game is. They were not hiding it remotely. They were so self-indulgent. It was full-on fan service. And again, like, for those fans, I'm happy. Like, I'm following a lot of people on social media, Twitch streamers. I know that they're gonna be really happy. I'm happy for them. But it's just kind of that thing, like I said, where like, okay, but if we're being honest, if we're being honest, there's some bullshit. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, because I'll see these other conversations too about, like, you know, when some people ask, like, oh, if there's like another remake like this, not necessarily like multiple parts, but if there's another high budget remake, like, what would people want that to be? And some people throw out like Ocarina of Time, right? I would love that too, but I really hope it does not have the same energy as this, right? I don't want any other game to have this type of energy. where they're just like fully like stick up their ass, their own dicks in their mouths. I don't want to see this become a norm. It's not. The game industry taking some hits. I don't think any other thing will be like this, which is why I'm kind of like more apologetic of it. Like, this is definitely like a one-of-a-kind thing. But if for some reason something like this ever happens again, I hope they reevaluate a little bit. Like this right here! The whole play... If anybody was lurking during that whole bullshit, what was that? What was that? Like, you know how anime has, like, those guides to skip filler? That's what this game was, except you couldn't skip the filler. That's just it, man. And also the ending. I have mixed... First of all, I think it wasn't as impactful, obviously, as the original Aerith death. I don't think it ever was gonna be. But I wish, like, Cloud... One of my favorite parts about the original death is Cloud saying, like, his little speech, his little monologue when Aerith's dead, about how, like, she won't get to feel, she won't do... That's one of my favorite parts of that death. Unfortunately, he did not have any words like that in this game. That's fine, there's a lot of other shit going on. Way too long, as we've already discussed. Maybe I'll just upload my rant here and just call it a day, because I'm gonna be busy this month, you know what I'm saying? But I have mixed feelings, because I don't know if it's gonna continue to the next game, but Cloud being able to see Aerith, it kind of like waters down the fact that she died. You know what I'm saying? Like she's dead. I'm glad they stuck to that. I was gonna be kind of pissed if she was still alive in this world they're in. They rushed to Forgotten Capital. Yeah, Cloud just kind of like wakes up and then there. I will say real quick, my original fear was that they were gonna kill Tifa instead. Because there's a lot of, like, red flags in, like, the first 3/4 of this game. How Sephiroth was like, oh, is she really alive, Cloud? And then, like, just a lot of the Cloud and Tifa interactions, it just feels, like, uneven. Like, a lot of this game felt like it was building on Cloud and Tifa. And then the end, it was, like, all Aerith, which, you know, it's a big moment for her. But, like, I swear, if you were just to watch or play the first, like, 10 minimum chapters, and I told you... Well, if you asked me to tell you the ending, and I told you, yeah, Tifa dies, you would not be surprised, just the way they were building it up. So it was just a little odd, but obviously, based on the ending with Tifa and Barret, like, looking skeptical of Cloud, they're gonna continue building on that. But it just seemed like... I was so scared. That one part where, like before... Sorry, when Sephiroth gets the black materia, and then he, like, drops it disrespectfully, he's like, pick it up for me, Cloud. And then Tifa and Aerith, like, rush to go save Cloud. I was so scared at that camera angle. I'm like, nah, man, don't kill off Tifa too. Don't kill off Tifa at all. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a version where they wanted to kill off Tifa. I think it was important that Aerith died to retain the respect of the original story. But like I said, him being able to see her is kind of like, And also, the fact that he has the black materia still. I know they did that to, like, leave the next game more unknown, a cliffhanger. But we went through that, like, 2-hour finale to see Cloud overcome Sephiroth, just for Sephiroth to regain his grip over Cloud, just like that. Like, am I being overdramatic? Like, we went through all of that just for Sephiroth to be like, haha, Cloud. You know? So that felt kind of cheap. It's like you made me go through all that to still see Aerith and for Cloud to still... So I don't know about that. Yeah, Cloud's arc, that's the thing. The whole arc of the game for Cloud was being in struggle with Sephiroth and his internal dialogue. He was wrestling with that the whole game. And what ultimately happens? Nothing. He just ended up exactly where he was. He still has Sephiroth. In fact, it's worse now. I'm not saying he should have 100% overcame it, but if you're gonna have that 2-hour finale, that's why I feel like this game specifically is gonna get away with all that nostalgia I was talking about, but the next game I think maybe people are gonna be more critical of, assuming, you know, there's flaws with it, which, you know, every game has flaws. I feel like people really wanted to see all the fun moments and all the filler. They're really excited to see it translated to HD, translated to this high production value. I'm really curious about the next game, though. Shout out to project manager Nara Pavao. Shout out. I'm really curious about the next game. I feel like I'm more looking forward to like the reaction to the next game, less so the actual game, because I don't know what's gonna happen. How can I be excited for something that I don't even know, especially with an ending that I'm mixed on? But I am excited to see. I'm looking forward to see how people react. If it's gonna be like a really satisfying finale, can they stick the landing? Yeah. It's gonna be very interesting. Good job, Square Enix. I mean, you could have like done a little less, but good job.